Well, joining me right now, running for U.S. Senate against Senator Bill Cassidy, currently the mayor of Shreveport, Adrian Perkins. Mr. Perkins, thank you so much for your time.
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
All right, we are in the closing days of this race for Senate. Obviously, a lot to discuss, be it the coronavirus or, again, just general affairs on Capitol Hill right now, affairs in Louisiana as well. So just overall, right now, our first question, why should you be our next senator?
Yeah, well, born and raised right here in Louisiana. I graduated from Captain Shreve High School in Shreveport and went on to West Point, then served 8 years in the military afterwards, serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, and transitioned to Harvard Law School. After Harvard, I came back to serve as mayor of my hometown. I bring up my biography to talk about my experiences. I'm not a traditional elected official. My leadership experiences comes from the military, leading men in very dangerous situations where life is in the balance, and I've been doing that since a very early age. But my experiences as mayor, leading at the local level, experiencing what our citizens are going through in an intimate way, also prepares me to go to Washington, D.C. and serve in the United States Senate and serve all Louisianians, not just the wealthy and well-connected ones.
And of course, Louisiana over the past few months has gained some headlines when it comes to the rate of coronavirus cases per capita, among the highest in the country, if not the highest at various points in this pandemic. So how do you feel currently about how, in particular, the Senate has been handling this coronavirus crisis?
Well, I'm disappointed, and I've been expressing my disappointment since earlier this year. That's one of the reasons, that is the most important reason on why I even jumped into this race. I'm in my second year of office in Shreveport, and watching the failed response from Washington, D.C. is what really prompted me to jump in. And what I mean is this: we have over 400,000 Louisianans that have applied for unemployment benefits who, again, are trying to figure out how they're going to pay to put food on the table for their families, or how they're going to pay their rent and pay their mortgage. And we are yet to get a relief bill from Washington, D.C., and the House passed one in May. If somebody goes to D.C. with my background, who is from a single-parent home, from one of the lowest income communities in Shreveport, they will work tirelessly to make sure that those families get the resources they need in this crisis.
And at this point, Senator Cassidy just not long ago at all talking about the coronavirus crisis, the stimulus package debate. He told us last week in an interview that regarding your criticisms about Congress, about the Senate not being able to pass a new stimulus package, his response was, that guy, you, needs to go back to civics lessons and learn how government works. End of quote. Your response?
Yeah. Well, I think that's extremely condescending, but it's distracting. It's distracting for the people of Louisiana to know that he has voted against unemployment benefits after the CARES Act passed every single time, while hundreds of thousands of Louisianans suffer. It also is distracting from the point that the Senate failed to negotiate. And let me, talking about what I know about civics, when the House passed the HEROES Act after the CARES Act in May, the Senate failed to negotiate for 2 months. You don't need a civic lessons to know if somebody's not doing their job for 2 months, and he has not done his job, not just then, but currently right now, while our families still suffer. And if I go to the United States Senate, I'm going to be fighting for our families tirelessly, and that's something that he's failed to do.
And certainly, the course of this campaign, we've never seen anything like not only a virus like this, but the fact that this is happening during an election year, during presidential, Senate, you name it, so many races here at stake at the same time. Then the money question, I guess, for candidates like you jumping into these races, and in your case, jumping into a race of this statewide, at least statewide stature for the very first time, the money game, how much does money talk at this point? I know you're among Democrats the most well endowed with endorsements and money, but how much will this come down to money?
Yeah, money is critical. And I'll tell you, there is far too much money in politics, but money is critical because at this time, when you can't go and do large rallies and, this virus has so many restrictions on candidates, you have to run statewide TV ads, and that requires hundreds of thousands of dollars. So money is critical, but I'll tell you, our funding in our campaign speaks for itself in this. We have over 50,000 contributions from people throughout Louisiana, throughout the country. Average contribution is just over $40. Senator Cassidy doesn't have 50,000 contributions in this entire cycle, since 2015, since he's been fundraising. He is funded by massive corporate PACs. We haven't taken one red cent from a corporate PAC. This is a people-powered campaign. So we're meeting that monetary threshold, but we're doing it with the citizens out there listening in on this call. And that's why we're confident we're going to go into this election and we're going to be successful.
People-powered campaign. I'm going to name some of the people who have supported your campaign so far. Former New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu, Governor Edwards, of course, former President Barack Obama, Vice Presidential nominee Kamala Harris. What have those endorsements meant?
Meant a lot, right? It gives some strength to our campaign. It gives some legitimacy to our campaign. And what it does is it makes people's ears perk up. So not just our messaging that's resonating with people throughout the state who are frustrated at our lack of response to COVID-19 from Washington, D.C., but who also frustrated that, you know, we're talking about a Supreme Court candidate right now rather than getting that relief. But those endorsements go a long way for us in fundraising, in making sure that we are as strong of a campaign as we can. So we're grateful for those leaders for lending their name to our campaign, but we're also grateful for all the citizens around this state that are casting their ballot for me, number 11, for Senate.
And Louisiana, of course, right now a Democratic governor, but by most indications considered a red state at this point. Given what you've gotten so far, endorsements and money, would that be enough to prompt a runoff at the very least for your campaign?
Yes, and we're very much geared up for that. A lot of the different analysis throughout the country is that Louisiana will go into a runoff. So we're very much geared up for a runoff. You know, so if we don't win this thing outright in the primary, then we'll go into a runoff and we'll be able to make our case and draw an even stronger contrast when it's just me and Senator Cassidy making our case to the citizens of Louisiana, which I hope we get an opportunity to debate. We've been asking him for that for some time now, considering we've been, you know, at the top of polls, but they've refused to do it. But, you know, I think it's imperative that he gets out and he defends his record. Rather than talking about civic lessons, get out and defend your record and tell us what you've done for us in Washington, D.C. Because the citizens in Shreveport, we are frustrated. Not just at the COVID response, but also his record with health care and him trying to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act that would have stripped away 500,000 Louisianans of their health care, jeopardized health care for nearly 1 million Louisianans that are suffering from pre-existing conditions. So yes, we would be super happy to talk to Senator Cassidy in a debate format so that we can talk about what we would do for the citizens of Louisiana, given that we make it to the United States Senate.
Yeah, and you mentioned there what the concerns of the people of Shreveport are at this point. Of course, you've been mayor of Shreveport for a few years now. Now, obviously, you have the name recognition there, but the question, I guess, looming here, you know, North Louisiana, South Louisiana, what would you like to tell those in South Louisiana who may not necessarily know your experiences, accomplishments, and where you stand?
Yeah, I'd like to just tell them, hey, you know, I'm a Louisiana boy through and through. I know we do this north-south divide thing, but we are all Louisianians, and the policies that are passed in Washington, D.C. from our senator affects all of us. Again, healthcare isn't this is a New Orleans issue or this is a Shreveport issue. That's all of our issue. The 500,000 Louisianans consist of Louisianans from north and south. Where you're talking about infrastructure and the fact that we need an infrastructure bill so that we can repair our roads and our bridges. That affects all of us. And we need somebody in Washington that believes in those things, that is going to go to Washington and be effective in taking those bills from the House and working on them and negotiating and getting something through so that we can have better infrastructure here, so that we can have better health care here, so that we can protect Social Security, so that we can make sure that we're fighting to raise the federal minimum wage and those issues that really impact us here the most.
Yeah, and just kind of backtracking a little bit here to those who have supported you, voiced their support, notable people who have voiced their support at least. One name has not, at least not officially, Cedric Richmond, the congressman, the head of the Congressional Black Caucus at this point. Just your general thoughts on not having his name necessarily tied.
Yeah, Congressman Richmond wrote an article about his relationship with another candidate in the race, and we completely respect that. I speak to Congressman Richmond probably every couple of weeks or so, but we're laser focused on winning this campaign, and that's what we focus on. If we can't get everybody to support us, we understand it's politics, but we're going to take the voices that have already come around and surrounded this campaign, and we're going to push as hard as we can to be successful.
Yeah, and I guess my final question here, your message to those who may not necessarily, again, agree with your politics, not just the notable names out there, but just everyday folks watching this in any part of the state. your message to them.
Yeah, my message to the everyday folks around the state who don't quite know me or might not think that they align with me politically is this. Right now we're in the middle of a pandemic. We need relief in this state, from the individual level needing unemployment benefits so that they can take care of their families, to the city level, to municipalities around the state that are going through budgetary shortfalls because of the stagnant economy that we're in, so that cities like Shreveport, cities like Baton Rouge, New Orleans, we can provide those essential services of sanitation workers, public service, public safety, our police, our firemen. We have to keep them employed. We have to keep them engaged. To the small businesses here that are working, I am going to D.C. to fight to make sure that all those things are sustained. I'm going to fight for them. I'm not going to give you political rhetoric and say that I'm doing something in D.C. when there are no results. Send me to Washington, D.C. as your next U.S. Senator, and I will fight for you, and I will deliver results, not just words.
All right, Shreveport Mayor Adrian Perkins, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.